This is Paul Tiao, and it's November 3rd, 2008, and it's a distinct honor for me to be interviewing Secretary Norm Mineta today. Mr. Mineta was the Secretary of Commerce under President Clinton, and the Secretary of Transportation under President Bush, and a member of Congress for 20 years before that, where he rose to the level of the chair of the Committee on Public Works and Transportation. I should also add that he is a founding leader of the AAA-Fund. He was our very first honorary board member in 2000, and he stepped down when he became a cabinet secretary, but he came back to us when he left the government a few years ago. So I'm very happy to be here with Secretary Mineta. He has been supporting Senator Obama since the primaries. Secretary Mineta, can you tell us why it is that you support Senator Obama?
Well, first of all, it was probably one of my most difficult decisions I ever made, because there's no doubt that I owed a great deal to President Clinton when he appointed me to the post of Secretary of Commerce, because I became the first Asian Pacific American ever to serve in the President's cabinet. And you don't lightly go against a person who has been able to do that for you. But I saw in Senator Obama a person who really was looking at issues from the perspective of how do people at the ground level view issues. Not is it top down, but in terms of policy determination and trying to figure out where are the real concerns. It's really bottom up. I did that as a member of the City Council, as mayor of San Jose, as a member of Congress, holding town hall meetings, reaching out to people in the community to see how they feel about issues. People who are professionals in their field, people who employ lobbyists, you'll always hear from them. But the whole issue of trying to get an idea of how the groundswell on an issue might be is something that always has interested me. Because in my positions that I've had, I've always tried to seek out and to speak for those who were underrepresented or who weren't represented. And I suppose part of that comes from my own background as a result of the internment, evacuation and internment of those of Japanese ancestry in World War II. Our elders in those days went to the mayors and the state legislators, members of Congress, and were totally rebuffed. And here we were, American citizens, found to be disloyal or untrustworthy by our own government. And no charges were filed, no trials were ever held. And yet here we were summarily forcefully evacuated from our homes and interned in camps with barbed wire and military guard towers for the duration of World War II. So as I got into public service, I always felt I wanted to make sure I always looked at issues from the perspective of the underrepresented or the unrepresented. I saw that same thing developing with Senator Obama. And I've just felt that Senator Clinton was more top down. Now hear this, now hear this. And she had excellent policies on health care, education, environment, whatever subject matter you wanted to discuss. But it was always sort of a prepared text. It was sort of top down. And it wasn't so much when Senator Obama was talking about we need change now, he then didn't have, and these are the 7 things we're going to be doing. He didn't do that. Now later on as the campaign developed, he then started getting to specifics. And even where he had specifics and he had enunciated these are the 3 principles, if someone came along and said, Toto, that's not one of the reasons you ought to be doing this, he actually changed his approach. The rationale in terms, or the final policy issue may not have changed, but his approach might have been different. And I just saw this in him, and I saw this so that by January, before the big Tuesday in February, I had then already disclosed that I would be supporting Senator Obama.
Okay. And are there reasons why you think the Asian American community, in particular, given the issues in the community, should support Senator Obama?
Well, I think, again, given his own, the exposure he had while he was growing up, and I'm quite sure for a African American growing up in Hawaii was not an easy life. Yet he also learned from that experience in terms of, I think, what might be described as the aloha spirit. And I think he has absorbed so much of that in his own nature. And he has been very sensitive to issues as they relate to minorities in general, people with disabilities. Throughout this whole thing, he has not run as an African American. He has run as an American who, by accident of birth, is an African American. And to me, that really speaks a great deal about his own character and his wanting to be inclusive in terms of approach. And so I think as Asian Pacific Americans, there's a great deal that we can see in him that we want to have in the President of the United States of America.